Hello everyone, this is Sylvia again. So I'm from Mira Fertility. Today's another great webinar from our side, and we have two fantastic presenters today. One is the Dr. Nan Wise, and she's the certified sex therapist and relationship specialist. Another one is the Dr. Dennis. And the Dr. Dennis has a little bit technical issue right now, so she's still trying to troubleshoot, but I'm sure she will be with us really soon. So it's February right now, it's a love season. So today's topic is about rediscover the intimacy with your partner while TTC. We all know that, while we're trying to conceive, sometimes sex become like a work, like a job. So it's difficult to manage the emotion and difficult to manage the momentum as well. So today we have these two wonderful experts to tell us what we could do. Great. So I will go to Dr. Nan first.
Can you hear
maybe
me?
Dr. Nan, you can say
Can
a
you
little
hear
bit about.
Okay, great. I can't see me,
Yes.
but my microphone's working, so that's good. My camera's not for some reason,
So,
but good to know. Let's see if
okay, perfect. Great. So I will let Dr. Nan introduce herself, and then I will come back to you, Dennis. I think it's okay if you have your the camera off. It's fine. We can go through this without any issue.
Hi, everybody. As you see on the slide, I'm a certified sex therapist, a relationship specialist, a neuroscience researcher, and author of Why Good Sex Matters, Understanding the Neuroscience of Pleasure for a Smarter, Happier, and More Purpose-Filled Life. I went back to grad school at the tender age of 50 to study neuroscience and try to fill in some of the gaps in the literature about the sexual brain. So as a result, I got a lot of attention. I have been all over the place talking about my work, talking about the importance of sex and pleasure. So I have a column with Glamour, Psychology Today, and I've been on the Today Show. So moving on, obviously this is for educational and informational purposes. This is by your host, Mira, letting you know we're not giving you medical advice today, but we're giving you information not intended to diagnose or treat any condition, not intended to replace medical advice offered by your physician.
So I will go back to Dr. Dennis and let her introduce herself too.
Hi, can you hear me?
Okay.
I feel so bummed that I can't share my gorgeous face with you. No, I'm just kidding. I dressed up for the occasion and put lipstick on, right? Anyway, so my name is Dr. Denise Wiesner, and I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. I'm author of the book Conceiving with Love, a whole body approach to creating intimacy, reigniting passion, and increasing fertility. And I'm here at my clinic, Natural Healing and Acupuncture in West Los Angeles. And I could go on, but that's good enough and I'm not tech savvy. I got that too. So I'm still working on my camera, but anyway, you can hear me. So I'm really excited to be here with you.
Thank you both. And also I want to say hi to our audience. So if you want to type in the chat about where you come from, and we can say hello to each other and get to know a little bit about each other, that would be great. And we have our moderator, Paulina, here in the chat as well. So you may have some questions during our talk today, and you can just type your questions into the chat, and our moderator will mark them as a question, and we will answer them with the sequence after the presentation. So as Dr. Nan already mentioned, so this presentation is just for educational and informational purpose. It's not going to replace any medical advice. If you feel like you need a medical suggestion, you still need to see your physicians. Okay, so before we go further, we like to ask you some questions. So I will have 4 polls onto the screen. So please help me to answer them. And this will significantly help us to understand what your fertility goals are. And so our webinar and our content can be more, towards your needs. So I'm putting them onto screen right now. Okay, so I will give you 10 more seconds. So if you can just quickly put your inputs, we really appreciate that. So we can already see some trend. About 82% of audience today is tracking fertility hormone level. Good job to you guys. And also about 86% is actively trying to get pregnant, and 14% is want to get pregnant in a few years. And in terms of the relationship with your partner, while TTC, we have a really interesting distribution. We have 33% says it's okay, but might be better. And also 27% is just like before, another 20% is complicated. So we definitely have some challenge here. So you're at the right place. We're going to talk about those topics today. And also, what is the most challenging part of TTC journey as a couple? 53% is that it's constant stress. That totally makes sense. And the 27% said it's uncertainty about the future. Great. Thank you so much, guys, for your response. So without further ado, I'm going to give the screen to Dr. Dennis first. So Dennis, you can move your slide. There is the arrow at the bottom of the screen. If you want me to do that, I can help you do that.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate that stress is really high when you're trying to conceive, right? You're really in the unknown. And what I want to talk about not only is how to manage stress, but to how to connect to yourself, which is about managing stress, right? Which is what intimacy is. Into me, I see. So I think one of the things for intimacy is trying to feel good about who we are, which means trying to feel good about the unknown and the uncertainty of life, right? And as I was writing this, love your body more, eat healthy, and exercise, we all sort of know what to do. Part of loving your body is feeling good in the moment. Because I know if we're going through a fertility journey or you're trying to conceive and it's not happening, that it creates a lot of stress. And we start feeling bad about who we are. And we start feeling bad about our body, and especially if you're taking hormones or you're doing Western reproductive medicine, it starts to be like, oh, I'm bloated. Oh, my stomach's bigger. And then there's a lot of criticism. And I see it in my patients. So loving your body. And I'll oftentimes have my patients go into the mirror, look at their bodies, and just say all the beautiful things that are going on with them. Like, I love my eyes, my hair, my arms, my breasts, whatever it is, because our bodies are very magical and they are healthy. And, even in all the uncertainty of life, we have this healthy body that we need to love. So that also goes with eating healthy. Most people know what to do with fertility in terms of how to eat, no gluten, no dairy, no sugar, no alcohol, no caffeine. I say no because it's not always. Some people can eat these things. It's just trying to eat healthfully and try to make ourselves feel good in our bodies. And, things that can help your sex life, if you want to increase blood flow, are things like having arugula, because it contains nitric oxide, and nitric oxide increases blood flow, not only to the penis, but we have erectile tissues in us as well. So arugula, pumpkin seeds, oysters, those are really good ways to increase zinc and also other kind of nutrients, just a few tidbits. Exercise also is great for our intimacy with ourselves and our partner because we can increase blood flow. But we have to be careful with fertility not to over-exercise, right? People, running marathons and hiking too much and overheating, doing hot yoga, those would not be recommended for fertility. But exercise like yoga, Pilates, walking, doing some strength training, some cardio is good for our blood flow and good for us. I wanted to go over some secrets for intimacy. So first, we have to really love who we are and be okay with sitting in the unknown. Stress is a killer for not only fertility, but sexuality, right? It's hard to connect with our partner when we are in our heads worrying about, like, did I time it right? Am I okay? Am I ovulating? What's going on? Is he ready? Is he going to perform? And there's just so much that takes place, right? Is this going to happen this month? I don't feel good. I have a headache, right? So we have to get out of our heads. Really, when I'm working with couples who are trying to conceive, I want them to get out of the thinking brain, but into their body, into their feeling, into the senses, into the smell, into the touch, into taste. And one of the things that can deeply connect you to yourself and your partner is eye gazing. When you eye gaze for 4 minutes, studies show, you connect deeply with a person, even a person you don't know. So think about it. Eye gazing when you're with your partner, eye gazing when making love, connecting into their soul, because it's really love that makes a baby. And it's in Chinese medicine, the heart energies are connected to the reproductive energies. And heart energies and reproduction go together because it's love that makes a baby. So spending time eye gazing. Also deeply embracing. I put chakra merging because I have a whole how to practice chakra merging with your partner in my book, Conceiving with Love. But even if you just hold your partner, like get naked and just hug and hold and spend time really feeling them and connecting, not in your head space, but in your body space. And then there's this wonderful thing called the 3-minute game, which I often have my partners play, which can be really fun when you're trying to conceive, because sometimes trying to conceive takes the fun out of it. And sometimes we don't even know how we like to be touched. We need to be touched. We don't even know. So this is the 3-minute game is you have your partner touch you for 3 minutes, how they want to touch you. And so they can do whatever they want. And it could be, it doesn't have to be genital touching, could be like, stroking your back. And then for the next 3 minutes, you ask your partner how you would like to be touched. So it might be like you want, some nails on your shoulders, or you want your neck gently kissed, or your feet rubbed, whatever you like, or a certain way that you like your genitals to be touched. And then you switch partners. And this gives a lot of intel to our partners of how they might want to be touched that they couldn't really articulate. Sometimes we don't know what we like, so we have to experiment with each other and find ways to touch. So that's a fun little game to play to keep you out of your headspace and into your body. There's my arrow. I often see in my patients who come in that they have no sex drive. They always check the box, low sex drive. And I spend a lot of time educating women about what a sex drive is. Some women think that they're supposed to be like instantly turned on like a male and ready to go and ready to make a baby. And it often doesn't work that way. So for women, desire often follows arousal. It can take like 20 to 45 minutes for some women to become aroused. And of course, if you're trying to make a baby and you're in your head thinking about like, am I wet enough? Is this a good time? We're not in our bodies. So I explain that sometimes we have to create a lot of foreplay, not just foreplay like sexual foreplay, but connection together, going out to dinner. And I'm going to go over some techniques in a minute. And it's not just for the women, but men oftentimes have a hard time getting erection under pressure. And I see this a lot in my practice because I treat a lot of men, just like too much stress, too much pressure. So I encourage you to speak with your partner, and some of you probably have been doing this already, but on how you want to do this, how you want to communicate when you're ovulating. Some men just like to see a calendar posted in a closet. Some men like to be intimately involved in the timing of it all, and everyone is really different. So make sure that you check with your partner and have a strategy. I think it's really good to communicate about these things, because I've seen it before where it just doesn't work and the woman's really stressed out and the husband's stressed that he can't perform and nobody talks about it. And then they end up doing IVF. So there is help. And sometimes, IVF or an insemination is a great, can really help a couple maintain intimacy because it takes it off the pressure off the table. But there are many ways to work around it. The last thing I wanted to talk about is to really make it fun. And again, making a baby, even if you're doing an IVF, is about connecting with love to our partner, to the person that we're going to make a being with. It's quite profound and wonderful. So if we're doing the same thing all the time and it's not fun, we can make it fun because it's the connection. It should be fun to make a baby. So some suggestions are to change the location. So if you're always doing it in the bedroom, try doing it in the living room or some other place. I know that if it's secondary infertility, sometimes that's a little bit challenging. I had musical beds in my house when I was trying to make a baby, where we were trying to figure out where to get privacy. But changing location can help. Also, just simple things like, playing music or bathing each other or lighting a candle or watching erotica. There's not to be confused with pornography, but there are some women-friendly eroticas where there's a story and it's beautiful to watch. So that's good. And then there's like kissing each other intimately. So in Chinese medicine, the tongue the heart energy opens to the tongue. And so when we kiss each other, we're really connecting with our hearts. So people forget about that and they're like straight to the genitals because this is baby making time. We got to like get the sperm where it needs to go. But I would say slow down, get out of your head, connect with your partner, try something different, and just remember that it's the love that makes a baby, right? It's connecting with that love energy. It's often forgotten when there's a lot of stress about the future and uncertainty and whether you will be a parent or not. Really try to live in the moment. When we orgasm, we are in the moment. Our brain shuts off. We have all these wonderful hormones that get secreted in our body. And those are the feel-good hormones. And we want those hormones. And that, even just the act of making love, increases the blood flow to the reproductive organs, which helps our fertility. So making love more, not even in the fertile window, but other times of the month, is super important for us to manage our stress, believe it or not. So make it fun and connect with your heart and enjoy the journey, which I know is sometimes challenging. Anyway, that's all I had to say. And I'm sorry that I can't see my face, but I hope that my voice was good enough today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Dr. Dennis. That was really wonderful. Great. So I'm now going to pass it to Dr. Nan. So Dr. Nan, you can continue with your slides.
Okay. So intimacy itself is powerful medicine. In the 40-something years that I've been first a therapist, then a researcher and a sex therapist, I've learned a lot about managing stress, in particular because I was born into a family where everybody has anxiety disorders. So one of the things, I actually took that and made it into a really wonderful career, learning how to manage my own nervous system. So just so we know, the source of stress is most often the mind of the person experiencing the stress. So that doesn't mean that we're not experiencing challenges when you are trying to navigate, getting pregnant, when you're trying to conceive. That's an additional level of stress for most people. And I also want to take a step back and talk about, we are living through an unprecedented time of tremendous stress and anxiety. Even prior to COVID, there has been an epidemic of stress and mental health challenges and anxiety. And I've written about in my book, Why Good Sex Matters. A big challenge is the way that we live our lives, so much with divided attention. So one thing I will say, if you frame your challenges as opportunities to promote resilience and resourcefulness, this is the best preparation for parenthood that I know. As a parent and now a grandparent, I can tell you that having children changes your life and having all these different kinds of stressors. So the most important thing that we can learn is how to accept all of our feelings, including what we consider the negative ones. So being able to be with our feelings, and I do want to say something. When I've studied orgasm in the brain, so I can tell you that the brain mind does not shut off. It actually gets flooded with all sorts of oxygen and nutrients. But what is key, and I think it's an important distinction, we don't want to think about we have to have an empty mind to have an orgasm. What we want to do is harness our attention on sensations. Just like Denise said, be in your body, be in your sensations, and allowing yourself to be with your feelings, even when they're challenging, will be a very powerful way of loosening and softening. So I'm going to talk about some tools that we know are very useful during anytime that we're navigating challenge. So radical acceptance of how we are and what is happening has been shown to be the active ingredient of all mindfulness practices, whether it's meditation, yoga, giving ourselves full permission to be as we are and for the moment to be as it is an effective mind-body medicine. That just accepting and relaxing into what is so. It's not resignation, but it's allowing you to be where you are, will often create a cascade of what all of these very good neurotransmitters and painkillers and health promoting abilities. Our brain minds are like basically a medicine cabinet. So when we can promote acceptance, it can let us to loosen and soften of the struggle. And then we can engage some of the more positive aspects of our core emotional systems, meaning feelings that we like: curiosity, caring, and playfulness. So I work with people over the years to help them develop different core beliefs that help us accept what is so. When we realize that we have all of the inner resources that we need to create everybody and everything that we need externally, we can loosen and soften. And when we loosen and soften, there's a change in our nervous systems that actually promotes the tonality that's very good for health and good for things like having sex and conceiving and all of that. So one thing I really am keen on teaching everybody today is a very simple breath that can change your nervous system's tone. So the first thing you want to do is just create maybe 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long period of time. Just 5 minutes where you give yourself permission to be as you are and for the moment to be as it is. And then what you're going to do is take a long, smooth inhalation through your nostrils, if it's possible. And then a longer, smooth exhalation, again, if possible, through your nostrils. When you make your exhalation longer than the inhalation, your brilliant body shifts the nervous system from the flight or fight, which is where stress lives, into the restorative mode. It's called the vagal brake. Your heart slows down, your stress hormones decrease, and what you're doing is creating a tonality that's very much consistent with being able to be relaxed and to have good health and good well-being. Another tool that I help people with is how to promote self-attunement. Intimacy with yourself is the first step, and it's writing for well-being. And when you say writing, you can write it down. If you're not feeling like writing it down, you make a note to yourself in your mind. What's on your mind? What's going on in your body? That's very important because people are in their heads, like Denise said, a lot of the time. And what's happening with your emotional weather? What are you experiencing in the moment in terms of your feelings? So during challenging times, it can be helpful to do this 3 times a day, to just put that time and energy into turning your attention onto you and really checking in with yourself and how you're doing. And when we talk about getting in sync with your partner, there are both nonverbal and verbal ways that we can do it. And anytime people are focused on trying to be goal-directed, whether it's about getting sex to work or getting pregnant, it takes people out of their experience. So it's a challenging time. And I think the number one skill for all relationships, whether it's our romantic relationships or about learning to be parents, learning to be partners, is tolerating our own feelings, the sensations in our bodies that come along with the emotions, and whatever we're experiencing in our minds. Tolerating our feelings, our partner's feelings, and then our feelings about their feelings about our feelings. So very often, just slowing things down and taking that long, smooth inhale, followed by the longer, smooth exhalation, makes more space for people to feel and to tolerate their feelings. And you can even create a nonverbal attunement with your nervous system, with your partners, by synchronizing your breath. So breathing at the same time as the partner is breathing, letting your breaths match up. And you don't even have to tell your partner you're doing this. If you're lying in bed and you want to sync with your partner, is match their breath. Another thing you can do, and I encourage my couples, and I've been doing a lot of couple therapy for coaching for so many years, is making a special time where you can listen to each other, and you can do something simple like share what's on your mind, what's going on in your body, and what your emotional weather is, and making space to hear your partner's experience as well. So that's
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Nan. That was really helpful. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how Mira could help you while you're trying to conceive. So before I do that, I just want to remind, if you have questions, please type into the chat, and you don't have to wait until the end of the presentation. You can do that right now, and we will moderate them, and then after the presentation, we will answer them. So I think probably most of you guys are Mira user. So Mira can help you to conceive if your goal is trying to conceive, and it can ease the journey for you and your partner. So Mira is the device, it's a home testing device, and we test the multiple hormones. And then now we test LH, estrogen, progesterone, and FSH. So you guys probably know that LH and estrogen will tell you when ovulation will happen, and the progesterone can confirm ovulation, and the FSH can understand your fertility level, like how close you're to menopause. And all these tests we're doing here are with the numerical number. So that means we give you your actual hormone concentration number. So just like you're doing the blood drawing. So that's very different from a OPK, like those test strip. You got 1 line, 2 line. You have to identify that by your eyes, and you don't really tell what does 2 line mean, right? So is that high? Is that really high? It's is that 5 or 10 or 15? So difficult to tell. And so with those accuracy and the level to the details, and we can identify up to 6 days of your fertile window. And we also, with those data, we have a smart algorithm on the cloud, and we do personalized psychoanalysis. So that means your ovulation prediction, sometimes we identify there's some red flags in your system. So all these are based on personalized data. So that's very different from even like you go to, say, a doctor. Most of those advice is coming from like average people or traditional research. So we have demonstrated lab grade accuracy, and we're friendly to irregular cycle and PCOS. And Mira started from this device I just described, and it's actually more than that right now, because we have an ecosystem. Mira's goal is really to provide our users a solution. So you can imagine that while you're testing for trying to conceive, you may want to know, okay, now I have this data, so what can I do with that? We're designing a program for you right now in the app, which can be launched very soon. And in addition to that, we already have things like a TTC course, and this product has been welcomed by a lot of users because we know you have concerns, we know you have questions while you're trying to conceive, and at the same time we have a lot of peripheral products like a prenatal vitamin, which you want to take 3 months before you get conceived, and until you're 1 year after birth. And the sperm test kit, not all problems are with the woman, and the fertility tea that can make you feel better, make your stress release a little bit during the trying to conceive journey. And then lastly, the IUI kit. And with this, the hormone profile Mira is testing. So we can say that, here's a hormone profile for a cycle. And the LH is the light blue line with the thick blue line. And that tells you when ovulation happens. And the estrogen, it will increase few days before your ovulation, so can identify your entire fertile window. And the PDG, the yellow line, will increase after ovulation happens. So if you have PCOS, you want to understand your ovulation actually happened or not. That's a really good hormone to test, because your body might be trying multiple times, but it may not be successful every single time. And lastly, FSH. So usually it's tested at a baseline, like day 3, day 4, and you want that number to be as low as possible. If that goes higher, that means ovarian reserve is starting to diminish. And also you see FSH has its peak is overlapping with the LH peak. So that's another indicator can be used to understand when ovulation happens. And the Mira is the only device that tests all these 4 hormones on the same platform. And then you got the number, you got the curve, just exactly like what you see on the screen. So you have a crystal clear understanding of what's going on with your body and cycle. So Mira is not a new brand. We already helped more than 50,000 people trying to conceive and guide their fertility journey. And based on our data, we also see that 84% of users conceived during the first 6 cycles using Mira. And our bestseller product is the Mira Max Wand. So the Max Wand is the single wand that testing 3 hormones, the LH, estrogen, and the PDG. So you can see that 3 hormones together is really telling you the very clear picture about the fertile window, ovulation, and if the ovulation has already occurred. So if you want to understand your ovulation, which really varies person by person, cycle by cycle, and this is a perfect product for you. It's very easy to use because you only need to dip that into urine once, and you have 3 numbers out from there. You don't have to test 3 times. And the Mira has already helped more than 26,000 customers getting pregnant, and we have a lot of success story. And on our website, there's a link over there. And many of them, when I read it, it actually surprised me. Many of them are having individual, very personalized story. So some of them like irregular hormone, PCOS. Some people was trying to go to on the night, trying to go to IVF, but they discover Mira online, found them they are pregnant. So everyone has a different story. And so if you're having challenges trying to conceive, you're not just by yourself. I have seen all kinds of very interesting and very personalized story, and we're glad that Mira was able to help them during their journey. And also there is the Mira Fertility Club on Facebook, and we already have more than 10,000 people over there. You're more than welcome to join. And this is open for Mira user and also non-Mira user. If you want to learn more about how Mira works and some other people's fertility journey, here's a perfect place for you. Great. So I think that's all I want to talk about today. So let me see the questions and we can answer them. Okay, so there's a question. There's 2 questions about Mira, and I will answer them first, and there's other questions for Dr. Nan and Dr. Denise. And so the first question about Mira is what's the difference between Mira Max Starter Kit and Mira Starter Kit? So Mira has the Max Starter Kit is testing 3 hormones at the same time. So the LH, estrogen, and the progesterone. And I think the Mira Starter Kit, you mean the Mira Fertility Plus Starter Kit. So that's testing 2 hormones, LH and estrogen. So LH and estrogen will tell you, when ovulation will occur. So it's more like a predict ovulation. And the progesterone is hindsight. So that's understanding that of the ovulation has already occurred. So 3 things together, it's it gives you the full picture, because that 3 hormones basically control your ovulation in the cycle. And there are other hormones, but they're more like how they influence your cycle regularity, things like that. But just to understand ovulation itself, those are the 3 hormones. So the Mira Max one is our starter kit, is our best seller. So if you're new to Mira, we suggest you to try that, and you can see, give you really good clarity about what's going on with your body. Another question is like, can I show my doctor my results on my Mira? Yes, you can. So there's a few ways to do it, and you can export. So all this chart, if you go to your chart on the app, and there's an icon, so you can export. You can export as a PDF file or export as the image, so you can send that to your doctor. And also I think we're developing a feature that's to really generate a report. It's probably already launched, so you can see that in your app. So we'll generate a report more than just the curve, and doctors really find that really helpful. Okay, so there's a question from a customer, Alexis, and she's asking about, is there a concern of having too much magnesium and zinc? I take a prenatal, but also drink AG1. So maybe that's a question for, I don't know, Dr. Nan, do you want to take that one?
It's my department. I can do it.
That's my department.
I think that in
great.
terms of vitamins, it's best to work with a healthcare practitioner about taking vitamins. Like you can take too much zinc. Zinc can interfere with other minerals if you're taking it. My thing is really to get zinc from food, or unless you're zinc deficient, and it can be good for your immune system. Magnesium, I have a lot of patients on magnesium. Yeah, I guess if you take too much, you could have loose stool, but I would work with a practitioner. There are vitamin tests where you can test what you're deficient in, and then get a personalized approach than just sort of take random vitamins besides a prenatal to treat yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. And there's another question about the what can I learn more about radical acceptance?
I write a lot about radical acceptance in my book, Why Good Sex Matters. And if you go to my website, which is AskDrNan.com, I actually have not only a blog about radical acceptance, I have a free course that you can take, a video course, how to work with your breath and radical acceptance to manage stress. Because one of the things that I'm more keen about, you can have stress, but it doesn't mean that you have to give up fun. In fact, if you can tune into relaxing enough to be able to be open to pleasure and joy, it's the best anti-stress thing known to man. So the course that I give, it's entirely free. You can find it right on my website.
Sounds good. Great. Thank you so much, guys. I think that's if you guys have any more questions, feel free to type into the chat. And while we're doing this, I just want to mention that we are offering a 10% off for this webinar. So if you stay until here, and that's the bonus for you, and you can use a code for on our website for reconnect 10. So it's going to give you 10% off on any Mira kit and the bundle. So if you're want to try Mira and want to see the experience, here's a great opportunity for you. Great. So before we go, I want to send a couple other surveys to the screen, and please help us to fill that, and because that's gonna greatly help us to understand how we did. So you can see that, you probably can see that on the screen. And while you're doing this, and I like to ask Dr. Nan, Dr. Denise, like where can people find you if they have more questions and they want to connect with you more? So maybe Dr. Nan can go first.
So what you can do is find me at AskDrNan.com. I'm typing it into the chat. And I also put a link into the chat to that course on my website, how to manage the 30-day course for managing anxiety. I also offer free consults for people, so you can sign up for a free chat with me right through my website. I'd be very happy to talk to anybody or anybody about everything related to any of this.
I'm at naturalhealingacupuncture.com or my name, DeniseWiesner.com. I do fertility coaching. I also treat patients in my office in West Los Angeles, but I do a lot of telemedicine. Definitely check out my book, Conceiving with Love, which has a lot of pointers. And I'm going to be coming out with a free couples video that I'm going to post on YouTube very soon, which I have all the exercises for intimacy that I'm about to share. So check out that. You'll probably get a link through my naturalhealingacupuncture.com website.
Great, thank you so much. And also, I just shared the deck we talked today on the screens. You can download that. And if you want to rewatch this, the webinar will be uploaded onto YouTube tomorrow. So I just want to say thank you so much for Dr. Nan and Dr. Denise. It was a great conversation. And I hope all our audience have a lovely February. It's a love season, and I wish you to, Mira could help you in your journey, and you can achieve your goal really soon. And we will see you at the next webinar. Thank you so much.
Nice
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.